Thank you to another episode of The Unexpected Detour. Where in life we always say detours are inevitable. Yes, in life, detours are definitely inevitable. Today, I am excited because I have some beautiful breast cancer survivors and thrivers who have decided to come on and discuss their journey with cancer. And hopefully and prayerfully, after listening to them, you'll take something away from what they have learned. Because today is not only a learning lesson, they're gonna teach you. They're going to teach you about how to navigate through this. And with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I am a survivor. I was diagnosed at age 60 with stage 2B breast cancer. I had to undergo radiation. I had to go to chemotherapy. I had to take Herceptin as well as I take esomeprazole, which is to control the hormones that are in my breast because I was triple positive. So that's my story. So we're gonna unmute ourselves and we're gonna start with Zainab, the co-host, and she's gonna tell us a little bit about herself. Zainab,
Greetings,
take it away.
greetings from Georgia, everybody. I'm Zainab. I am a survivor and thriver. I was diagnosed 10 days before my 50th birthday, and I was diagnosed with stage 1 invasive ductal carcinoma. I had a lumpectomy, prophylactic bilateral mastectomy, 16 days of radiation, capsular contracture, nipple necrosis, and I also had what you call it, expanders with reconstruction. My treatment plan was to take 5 years of anastrozole. I had to stop taking anastrozole and switch it to letrozole because I couldn't handle the side effects. I had every side effect under the damn moon. So that's my story.
Okay, next.
Hi everyone, my name is Zakiarh. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. I currently live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and I am a breast cancer, I would say, thriver because I still have it. I have stage 4 breast cancer. I was diagnosed a week before my birthday, December 2022. I have estrogen positive breast cancer. It metastasized in the bones. I have it on my lower spine and like a few dots on my hips and on the lining, I'm sorry, of my lungs. I'm currently taking Kisqali Femara, so I do the chemo in the form of pills because it metastasized, and I am currently still going through my treatment. It's probably going to be ongoing for a while, but the good news is my tumor has decreased. I started off with a 5.6 tumor in the start of my cancer journey, and it decreased to this day. It's now at a 2.6, so it's been going down.
Okay, Tiffany, you're next.
Hi, I'm Tiffany. I reside in Georgia. I was diagnosed with stage 1 breast cancer in 2019, January 2019, actually 2 days after my 33rd birthday. I was ERPR positive. So I had a double mastectomy with delayed reconstruction. So I had the surgery first, and then I had 8 rounds of chemo. I didn't have to have radiation. And after the chemo, I had to wait about a month and a half for the reconstruction. And I underwent maybe initially it was supposed to be about 3 phases of reconstruction, but I think I ended up having some complications due to surgery. And so as of date, I think I have had either 11 or 13 surgeries, breast cancer related. Um, Yeah, I think, and I consider myself a warrior. Um, because I face and tackle anything that I go through in life and kick his ass. So
Angie, come on, Angie.
Hey everybody. My name is Angie. I currently reside in Chicago, Illinois, born and raised. Um, I was originally, I would say I'm a cancer thriver. I am currently still fighting cancer. Recently sent home on hospice slash palliative care. When I first got diagnosed, it was 2 weeks before my 35th birthday. I was stage 3. I underwent a double mastectomy just because I removed both breasts just for precautionary measures. Um, I went into remission. I went under treatment. I did chemotherapy. I went into remission. And a year later, the cancer came back. It had spread to my lungs. At that time, I was retaining fluid on my lungs. I was operating on a half of lung. I went under chemotherapy again. I also took an array of drugs and surgeries related to that. And then I was excuse me, I went into remission again. My cancer just recently came back in January of this year, right before my birthday again, where the cancer had currently spread to my liver, my lungs, my spleen, my lymphs, and I was then at that time sent home for palliative care or pain management due to my diagnosis. I started chemotherapy again, and I also started radiation after being highly addicted to opioids. I was taking about 150, prescribed about 150 milligrams of morphine per day, along with Ativan. And after attempting suicide, uh, the second time, I made a decision to cut therapy completely. I haven't told anybody, beautiful. You kind of get an exclusive story. Haven't really been on the internet, and I haven't really been sharing. Um, After some deep consideration with myself and God, I have decided to quit all treatment and I have begin to educate myself as I have before, but a little bit more in depth on this disease because I see us go through this so much. I have a non-for-profit where I advocate for awareness with women with cancer, of course, and just seeing people die, my family members die, us constantly get this false hope of remission, and then it comes back and really the issue is because they never really fix the problems. And that's a whole nother, you have to follow me for that story. I don't want to take so much time and go on that. But it is with deep consideration that I am on a journey to help my sisters. And I am going to take the fall for that. I have trust in God and faith in God, and I am working with faith over fear. And I know a lot of us go to the chemo and to the radiation because fear, and we hold on to that for hope. But I got to a point where I was like, am I going to keep playing this game with these doctors, feeling like I'm a number? I have multiple recordings where they have misdiagnosed, did something wrong, don't have an answer for this, can't give an answer for that. And it's really just a bunch of BS and it's a lot of false hope. And I said, you know what? I got to do something better for us. I got to give us a different kind of hope. We hold on to it, but at some point we have to fully trust God. And that's, the bottom line. And I'm stepping out on here on faith. I have educated myself on the disease and the things I need to do. And since I am officially 3 weeks clean of opioids, um, I have actually, since I have stopped treatment, I have become better. My tumor has reduced. I have started implementing, I'm on a raw diet. I have started implementing red light therapy in my home. I also do oxygen treatments. I am working on my lymphatic system. I have ordered all of my own, and I'll be passing it out to anybody want any for free. There's no cost. Um, I've been ordering herbs and putting them together and just sending stuff out to people because even though we do the chemotherapy and the stuff like that and putting this poison and these pharmaceuticals into our bodies, we have to make sure that we're complementing these things and making sure that we're rebuilding the cells. We focus on chemotherapy, medicine focus on killing everything, killing the cells, but they don't ever talk about rebuilding of the cells. And that's why we have the false hope and the fake remission, because really we don't do anything. We just put a Band-Aid over it. So here I am on a journey to give us a different kind of hope, give us a different kind of story, give us a story of real faith over fear, a story in trusting God and letting that be your drive and your motivation to not only make yourself better, but to be able to share it with the world and other women so that we can actually be permanently better and not be living on medication for years and years and years. I know what it's like every time it come back. I know what it's like. And so
Thank
that's
you,
where I am
Angie.
with my story.
That was awesome.
Amen.
That was awesome.
Powerful.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah,
you for sharing.
Okay,
Gave me
Tisha,
skills.
we see you.
Right.
Tisha, you there? You was there. Hi, Tisha. What happened? Miss Fraser. Zainab, you want to text her? That was awesome, Angie.
It was. It
You
was.
beautiful. And I know I don't, putting down anybody what you choose to do. I think for me, it's just I know sometimes we have that fear. Yes, we believe in God, but we also fear death. And sometimes I've been there, and that's how they get us. And I'm working on a documentary. I've been recording the doctors, things that have happened that they're doing, the predatory behavior. And baby, when y'all see this stuff that I didn't get this footage of, I had one doc say, "You was recording me?" And I hit her with I was only recording because I'd be so high off these drugs that I can't remember what you be saying. I just want to go back and play it so I can remember. She,
That's
oh,
a good thing. That's a good
when really she was acting such a predatory behavior. And I said, I'm gonna put this heifer on the black. I'm sick of this lady.
Wow.
When I
Yeah.
would go in there and I had my cousin go with me because I was like, man, tell me if it's just me. And we went in, the first thing that they like me high and agreeable because they know when I'm not on my drugs, I know I'm a problem patient, okay? And they see my name on the itinerary. This till the point where some doctors don't even want to come in the room. They send their nurses in. They just don't want to deal with me because I'm just that much. I got my notebook in there. I got my notes, my highlighter. I got my information. I got my questions. I make them earn their money with me. They gonna earn their check.
But it's always good
That
to
part.
take
You gonna
somebody
earn
with
your check
you.
with me.
It's
Huh?
always good to have somebody go with you, because you're never
Yeah.
gonna retain all of that information. Because I know I had somebody. How many other of us went with other people? I'm
I
sure
didn't
there
have
was.
anybody to go with me. Really, I actually kind of begged for it, but I record all the time.
Oh, see, I had
Behavior.
I
somebody
was
come.
gonna say, Angie, I have a lot in common with you. Like after
Sure
listening
do.
to your
We two
story.
gotta connect.
Yes, I was just about to say that offline if you want to.
Absolutely. I'm a girl's girl, honey. I
Me
love.
She
too.
sure is, because she got a podcast that's cool. I told Zainab, I had to look at it, Angie. I'll be very honest with you. I was very judgmental of that name.
I
And
know.
then when I saw the acronym of what it meant, I was like, oh, that's what she means.
Quick
So,
backstory about that. And me and my boyfriend have been working on that. And he's like the pussy talk thing. And he's like, because you got to get people, right? And so the rebranding, as I retake another approach, the podcast is called Pussy Talk Ladies. It's where we talk about controversial topics between men and women about how we all are prisoners to the pussy. And I think, I'm sorry, Latisha's back. Everyone can relate to that. And how I got mine was just my childhood traumas from my mom and how much trauma that caused me being the child of a teen parent, had becoming a teen parent, and so on and so forth. So I'll let
okay.
Latisha get the floor.
Tisha, would you like to tell us about you, your stage and everything, your name? I know I didn't tell you where I'm from, but I'm in New York. I'm in Hopewell Junction. So if you saw Petticoat Junction,
Where?
that's what I'm feeling.
Where
I
is
live
that?
I live in Hopewell Junction, like Petticoat Junction, a little town, a little rinky dink town. Yeah, everybody laughs at me, so
Can you hear me?
loud and clear. You look just as beautiful.
Thank you.
So
Um, So my name is Latisha Frazier. I was diagnosed, I think I was 33 when I was diagnosed with stage 1 invasive ductal carcinoma. It was in my right breast. I was kind of just at home chilling on the couch, and then I felt a lump. And I went and looked in the mirror, then I got on Google. I waited 2 weeks to see if it would go away, but it didn't. So then I made an appointment with my provider, and it just took off from there. I did a an ultrasound, and then they did a biopsy, and then I was diagnosed January 3rd of 2023. I had a bilateral mastectomy. I made that choice after I did the genetic testing and found out that I am a BRCA2 carrier. I have done 16 rounds of chemo and 25 rounds of radiation. I also had a delayed reconstruction, so I had tissue expanders after, well, it was kind of like delayed, immediate, whatever. I had tissue expanders up until July, up until July 5th is when I did my reconstruction. So now I'm doing that. Currently with my right implant, it's just kind of, I guess it's not going the way they wanted to. So they put me on Singular to kind of try and soften the capsule so that the implants can drop. But right now they're still sitting pretty high. But yeah, I am in Southeast Georgia. That's my cat. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I got a dog. She's just being quiet right now. Angie got a dog, but her dog is outside, probably.
But yeah, so that's what my all of last year basically looked like. I will be celebrating my 1 year post chemo on the 23rd.
Very good. Yes. I think we all have a correlation, and the correlation seems to be we all found out around birthdays.
Yeah.
It's something. I
Stress.
found out right after I turned 60, and I was like, I had a mammogram since I was 40 years old. How is this happening? Yeah.
Stress.
Yes,
Stress.
and
10
that's what
years
it
before
is,
my
stress.
50th.
But there's
Cancer is already in
something.
our bodies, and it is we all have cancer in us from the time we're
Yes.
born, those cells. There are things that make those things grow, and usually in Black women, unfortunately, we are the most stressed in the planet. That's why we are the most diagnosed.
But you know what? I would always ask about this dense breasts, because I would always get the report back, oh, you have dense breasts. So when I found out, I asked, is there a correlation between dense breasts and this breast cancer? But we find out that it's hiding, and that's why they're doing these 3D mammograms now, because it can see that. 2D mammograms don't see anything but what they show. But the 3D one, those 9 images that go around, they show it. They definitely show it. Has anybody other than Angie done any kind of like holistic treatment?
Yes, I have. I'm actually currently doing it. So I work with a healer in Fort Lauderdale, and I actually met her through one of my old bosses that I worked with. She pretty much she cooks all plant-based meals, and she does plant-based and alkaline meal plans. So we kind of met like just in a friend setting, and then I kind of told her what was going on with me, and so she said, well, I would really like to start working with you because she's worked with other patients who had terminal illnesses, and she's kind of helped them like, decrease their symptoms and turn their health around. And she also has other people in her network that also does the same thing, such as like it's a website called Veganhood, and they pretty much put you on a meal plan, or alkaline diet, juicing diet, raw fast. I mean, like, well, what was it? Dry fast. I'm sorry, dry fast, water fast, and they said that pretty much with the patients that they've worked with, they've seen a turnaround in their health. And so I actually started working with them. And I work for the Boys and Girls Club. And so what I do is I do regional programming. So I do a lot of mental health programming. I work with a lot of like community partners. And I met a Jamaican guy who owns this garden, and he grows like different herbs and different plants that aren't necessarily that we have access to here. So they have like moringa trees and papaya leaves and just different plants that help fight cancer. And so when I take my students to that garden, they let me take whatever I want. So I take the leaves, I dry them out, I make it into tea. And I started doing things like that. And I feel like that truly is the real reason why my tumor really decreased as fast as it did, because I don't think that it would have done that had I just stuck to the treatment that they provided. So I kind of do their treatment along with like holistic treatment in my own research, like apricot seeds, black seed oil, soursop leaves, things like that.
Oh,
May
that's
I add
awesome.
something to that? So the funny thing about the cancer is, and this is why what they don't say, based off science. Okay, cancer does break up the tumors, which really it's just waste. And the reason why the cancer a lot of times in us is reoccurring is because we allow what has happened the first time we get diagnosed with cancer. They do what? They go in our lymph nodes. They either remove them or they cut them. Well, our lymphatic system is key in the cycling and the flushing of the body. And so when we take something away or we cut into something that is designed to remove waste, we get that backup of when our body is trying to release the waste, it doesn't release it because it's not allowed to, because it's missing one of the tools to do that. Then you get the ball of cells when your doctor, I'm sure you may have heard explain, well, we have a ball of cells and they get together as a mass and they form
I've heard the story.
when that's just really
And it's
waste.
my son is the one that actually told me,
Yeah.
he's like, Ma, everybody has that gene, They can get this
Right.
cancer. He was like, it's like when you have a cold. You get your immune system breaks down, you get sick, where one person doesn't get it. So, hey, I said, I don't know if this kid is telling me the truth now. So when I went to the doctor, don't laugh, when I went to the doctor, he said the exact same thing. And my son was like, Ma, I
If you
told,
really want to, I'm sorry, go ahead.
yeah, he told me, I got a 42-year-old, so, it's
If
kind
you
of
really
hard to
want
get
to
with that one.
test the doctors, stop all of your treatment for 30 days. You saw it. I had a mass
Yeah, and I don't
out,
see it anymore.
looked like an arm, right? And what it was is that I got my lymph nodes on my left side cut out. And what happened is that all of the waste was trying to relieve itself, but it can't because I'm on morphine all day, so I can't use my bowel movements because that's how we release body through our liver, through our waste, through our
Right,
poop.
right,
Well, if you ain't pooping, you ain't releasing no toxins or no
right.
waste or no liver, right? And so it all bundled up here. And because I don't have the lymph nodes and because I had my breast removed and all of the things that when it usually could have got clogged up in here, if I had to just work my lymphatic system, it would have relieved itself and went down on its own and went through the body. But because I didn't let them remove it and they've already removed the essential parts that I need to, sorry, that's my Instacart, to do that, then it it won't relieve itself. So
Right.
I started doing my lymphatic treatments, went off the pain meds so I could actually use the bathroom. It took me about 2 weeks before to even have a normal bowel movement. But I went to relieve the old ways before I got off of there. And I went and got my colonics so that I can get all the mess that had been stuck up in there from non-usage of using the bathroom. Went and got my lymphatic massages, having them open up my lymph system around here. Cut the medicine out for 30 days because it only takes the body 21 days to regenerate a new cell. And see that there's one said, sorry. You can leave it on the porch. I'm on a call.
I'll leave it on the porch. Okay.
Thank you, beautiful.
You're welcome. Have a great weekend.
You have an amazing night yourself.
Alrighty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Sorry about that. And so now you're able to release the waste. What also they tell you when you get sick, don't go in the sun and don't do this. Your body needs oxygen. And when you're going to chemotherapy, your body is deprived of oxygen. So you stop the chemotherapy and you go to get oxygen treatments. How do you do that? You get the hyperbaric chamber, you go to the sauna. You can take a thermal bath at home. That will actually reset your body. Whoever is going through chemotherapy or radiation, how to reset your body after that. You go run the tub to the full, hot water, as hot as you can take it. You're going to put 2 boxes of baking soda in there. That's going to neutralize the water. You're going to get in that water and you're going to lay there and soak until the water becomes room temperature or it's cold. What does that do? Puts the body into a shock. It's called a thermal bath. Look it up.
Angie, you've been doing your research. Go
Angie
ahead.
know her stuff. She done her homework.
I'm like taking notes.
I'm over here because it's not. I'm
Angie, what I
educating
need you to
for
do,
everybody.
I need you to go in the chat, put this information. Zakiarh, put your information about the things that you've learned since going through this journey. You
Yeah.
know, because I
And
do research, Zainab and I, we do our own research and we find out things. And I know there's a cure for this cancer.
I
It's
have all
just
the
that
books.
nobody is, the big pharma does not want to let it out.
And they play on our fear. They
So,
play on our fear. All they got to do is say, you ain't gonna be there for your kids. Oh Lord, I got to do anything to be there for my kids. They hit us where they know we're weak in whatever form that may be.
right.
Right.
You know, that's just the way that the medical system works. That's why I have videos from years. I remember I was in a hospital earlier this year, and the doctor said, I'm in there, they looking at my paper. Based off my paper, I should be dead. The one doctor came in and said, you know, from talking to you on the phone, you know, she came in and she said, when I found out you were hospitalized, I wanted to come see you because we have such good conversations over the phone. And she came in there, I had on my pink dress and I had my room all made up, my fresh fruit on the dresser, my flowers smelling good. And she said, oh my God, it smells like a spa in here. My sunlight open because I always request a room with sun so I can sunbathe. And she's like, you know, based off me talking to you and looking at your records, I'm shocked. I'm going to have to say that I judged a book by its cover. I can't believe you look this good. And how are you up? They told me you up moving and making your own bed and this and then the third. And
Yeah,
I
I
said,
saw you in there. She was making her bed. She was just all happy up. I was like, this girl
because
got a
they
lot of energy here.
Right.
What
Angie,
you
your
want to
story is
say,
just so
Zainab?
interesting. You know, I can relate to a few things. Yeah, like I just want to go back to the holistic treatment. You know, I was only stage 1, but I did go from pescatarian to vegan, you know, just to keep it at bay and, you know, prevent recurrence. So Zakiarh, a lot of the things that you did, I did that as well. You know, I'm big on my teas and, you know, eating fresh fruits and vegetables and things like that, grains, nuts, beans, everything I can. That's how I get my protein. Back to what Angie was saying about the inflammation. So I had 2 lymph nodes removed. And I tell you that I have been going through it. My body, I put on 30 pounds of weight with my diet and exercise. I paid a trainer. I could not get these 30 pounds off me. It all went to, you know, my lower body. I didn't need any help in that department. But so I went to a spa to get these lymphatic massages. After my first week, I lost 7 pounds. I
wow.
went back, I kept on going back, and it was getting my lymphatic system
Because it
to
helps
move.
you to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, it had me going to the bathroom like crazy, but more importantly, it got some of that fluid out of me. So out of the 30 pounds that I had gained after these treatments, 15 of it was fluid. And all I needed to do was go and get these lymphatic massages. The
That's what
doctors
the other
never
15
told
is.
me that.
The other
They
15
never
is
told me
shit.
that. It was making me sick. I have neuropathy in my feet. My legs are itching. You know, I've been diagnosed for 2 different things. I don't know what it is. If it's lipedema, first they said it was lymphedema, then they said it was lipedema. My legs and feet and ankles just keep swelling up, and it's driving me crazy. All right,
I'm
back to
working on a
Francis.
tea. And so I'll send you when my next batch of herbs come in, should be here by Monday. And I'll send you some of it for the lymphatic system because I'm doing all lymph stuff right now. I'll send you a batch. I'll get that off. The other 15 of those pounds ain't number weight. Go get you some colonics, boo.
Yeah, that's
Get
what I
you
was
some
going to do. That
colonics and
I
watch how
told
that
you
start
I
coming
did
off.
that my friend's daughter, she does that with the wooden stuff.
Yeah, I got that too.
Dry
That
brushing,
helps.
Ricky.
therapy, dry if you get you a dry brush and just brush
That's
towards
what it
your
was.
lymph
I
node.
got all of that.
The
Guess what?
yeah.
I got it in everyone's spa packages too, with the oil and all that. So I'm
So
sending that
all
to
of you're
Oh,
gonna
everybody.
get
thank
all of
you.
And so
that stuff.
I hooked y'all up.
Thank you so much. Oh, Angie, I put my number in the chat as well for you to
Okay,
text me.
Everybody,
beautiful.
we should, put the numbers in so we could
Yeah, I'm about to say you can put you guys can have my number as well if you need to text me, have any questions, or
no,
just
I
want to
think
say hey.
I wanted to do this because I wanted us to be able to connect.
Yeah.
Because Black women, when it comes to breast cancer, they don't connect.
Hmm.
And I
Yeah.
don't know why. I mean, I see you get on, I mean, they'll get on Instagram and everything. Angie got a lot of people, so we ain't talking about her. But Angie's people, they're not really connected for breast cancer. They're connected because of what she's talking about.
Yeah.
But
I have my
here,
group.
you have your group, the
Yeah,
pussy.
I think no, we're called the Shitty Titty Committee.
Oh,
I
oh,
like
okay.
that.
And
Oh,
what I have also find in a lot of us Black women, what we hate to let people know we have cancer. It's
yeah,
all like, oh my
Yeah.
God, it's
Hmm.
yes.
secret.
We don't want everybody to know because it's like a stigma of something.
I think for me too, I'm glad you said that. It took me a year to actually like verbally say it online that I actually had it. And it was because of the fear that I felt like, does this devalue me now? Because I was, I'm young, like I'm 33. And I was dating, like I was in a really bad relationship, and my ex left me after I got diagnosed. And so I just really had this stigma of, no one's going to want me. No one's going to want to talk to me. Like when I have this. So when I was dating, I would tell people early that I had it. And I noticed like people would stop talking to me, or people would feel like it was just, I don't know, like maybe they in
Because
their
that was
minds
their
feel like
ignorance. That's
it was exactly.
They act like it's
Caused,
contagious.
and it
But
caused
it's a
me to
lot of
feel
work
ignorant.
dating women with cancer.
it
If a
is.
man is not really intentional and he's just there for fun and vibes and sex, it's a lot of work. It's a
It
lot
is.
of work.
And
I'm
like for me, like after I like kind of, I had to take my own healing journey within that year, really finding myself and finding my voice in it. And I started joining like other like groups on Facebook and just kind of talking to those communities. And it really built my confidence up. And then my roommate actually, she was like, you know what, Zakiarh, you should really share online because you have such a big presence. People love you. Like you may not get the response that you think you're going to get. You may get a lot of help, helpful people out there that want to talk to you. So on New Year's Eve, like a couple like days before, I posted that I had it. And just the amount of like love I received, like tips, like just, people that really just poured into me. And then my boyfriend now, I told him when we first started dating, like, look, I have this. I just want you to know, like, because I want to know what are we going to do moving forward. And just the support that I got from him and the advocacy because I owned it and I owned what I had and did the research, and also just like you said, like just walked in my confidence of knowing I have it, it's here, but what am I going to do to to move forward, to get rid of it, but then also like know that it doesn't define me or change me as a person in a negative way, because it did change me in positive ways.
Man, shout out to him though for doing that. Like you, I was in a relationship. I actually, when I was in my cancer the last time, my ex abused me.
Same.
Abused me verbally, physically, emotionally, mentally, until the point that one day he said he wish I hurry up and fucking die so he can spit on my grave because I'm actually ruining him. I will wake up, be how, drowsy, whatever, off the pain meds and chemo and stuff like that. And I'd have walked in on him in the living room having sex, and the next bedroom having sex. And then one time where I interrupted his sex, where it ended up turning into them jumping on me.
Wow.
And so, man, the way that you can be treated, people be like, you the one decided to die. I ain't got to die with you. That was what he would say to me. And that was so, if I understand the fear of women not wanting to share that because you don't want to be vulnerable and stuff like that. That was one of the other reasons why I started my group here, for women who are going through and they don't like sharing those things. And when I started to tell women about my abuse, the amount of, they wouldn't say anything on the post, but the amount of women who would message me and say, man, I was abused too when I was going through cancer. I was abused too. And how common it is that these people would do this while you're at the most vulnerable point in your life. You're the sickest. And so I know it puts that stigma and that fear in there.
It
But
makes you
living,
feel ugly, you know? Like
but
nobody
beauty,
wants to.
cancer is so beautiful.
But
Don't look at it as like
I
a thing.
had somebody just like that. And I came home with the lumpectomy and they were like, let's have sex. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, they don't care, you know? And so I've just this time happened to be blessed. I was like fearing him doing the same thing. So I broke up with him. We wasn't even ain't even together right now, but shout out to him for, uh being more an advocate too. He look up all the stuff. He just sent me another book. He ordered my tinctures. I was at a point where I wanted to die. And he brought me back to life, where he advocated for me more. He like, really, you gonna just give up, Angie? This is not the Angie I met. This is not the Angie I know. And so it's a lot of work, him picking me up off the floor and helping me do the necessary things like wash myself and all of those things. And it is men be like, I ain't here for this. I'm here for, so I get it, but we gotta be honest with ourselves so that we can have genuine people around us who want to be with us, all of us.
How did you handle your journey, Zainab?
How did I handle my journey?
How did you when you were going through it? Because I know emotionally it affects you.
Well, it did, one, I wanted to keep it to myself. I'm a very private person and, in my own little perfect world, I didn't want anyone to know anything. I wanted them to think that I just had everything all together. But, my mother and my grandmother died from breast cancer and I didn't know anything. I felt like if I knew more, I could have did more for my mother. When they told her she had 6 months left to live, she only lived 3. So it was when my mother was diagnosed, it was the first time I did a self-breast exam. I was 39. And so doing that and finding it myself, I was obviously overwhelmed. I was scared. I was angry, and then I I just kept thinking all these negative thoughts like, oh my gosh, am I going to end up like my mother, my grandmother? Like, what do I do? That's when I reached out to the breast cancer community. Francis was one of my first followers. I'm new to Instagram and I just jumped out there and, it really helped me navigate through my journey by talking to other women, giving me advice and what to expect because the doctors they don't want to tell us everything. Their goal is to get money out of us. They're there to help us, but their ultimate goal is to give us all these prescriptions and treatments to get money out of us. My doctor, she would tell me things that I would possibly had an option to do, but I know that I didn't need these things. So I turned away from certain things. And that's when I started collecting all these teas and stuff and doing what I can do and advocate for myself. And like Angie did, I took notes for everything and all those notes turned into a book. But whenever I walked into the doctor's office, I know they hated to see me because I had like 10 questions every time, between each appointment. I would go in there, look, and I wouldn't leave out until she answered every one of those questions. Now I'm to the point where I only see my doctor once a year. And, the last few times I went in, I had to see this nurse advocate. And I just told her, listen, if I'm only seeing you once a year, I expect to see my doctor because this nurse said something to me that I just really did not appreciate. And um, she's okay with that. But during my journey, it was a very emotional period for me. I worried about my man in Africa, like, oh my gosh, when am I going to get there to go and see him again? I didn't want him to come here and see me like that. I worried about that. My family, I kind of like isolated from everybody else except for my immediate family and, people close to me. But reaching out to the breast cancer community, I've met so many beautiful and lasting relationships that I really just don't regret it. I'm very appreciative for, and it have really and truly helped me get through it. I know all you ladies individually, you know, and I thank you all for giving me your testimony. You know, it have helped me in a way too. You know, your strong spirits and you know your bravery and strength to get through you know these later stages of breast cancer. You know, it really truly helps us, and people have told me so many times that these women's stories on there is so empowering and inspiring. And I thank you all. And Angie, I need your story, girl. You was one of the first ones. Everybody on here, I had their story except for yours.
And
But
mine.
that's oh yeah, Francis. But yeah,
We just became
that's
sisters.
another
That's
topic.
all. We just
Yeah.
became connected at the hip. That was it.
I got you, hon. I got you.
All right, Tifanie, how did you handle your diagnosis?
Well, where do I start? So I was very independent. To let's just be frank, I was hyper independent because, like Angie said, the childhood wounds, the trauma. So the hardest thing for me going through breast cancer was losing my independence.
Okay.
And so, and then because I was so hyper independent and everybody thinking that, well, Tip gonna be fine, she's okay. I didn't receive the amount of support that I thought I should have. I was a single mom, had been in my house for maybe about a year, and the day of my diagnosis, nobody came over. No one called to check up. Actually, the day that I was diagnosed, which was 2 days after my 33rd birthday, my work staff, they had already planned a birthday lunch for me. So I love to eat. So they asked me if I wanted to still, I called a meeting with them and told them what was going on and, you know, what could possibly happen in the next couple of months as far as me being out. They took me to lunch. I went back to work to print out some things, and I came home and I helped my daughter finish her project. That following weekend, my aunt from Valdosta came here to be with me that weekend, but that was pretty much with it. And it was just a whirlwind because again, it was right after my birthday, so I had a birthday trip planned that week of January 20th through the 25th. So everything just happened really, really fast. So my first question is, what about this trip? Do I need a counsel? Do I, go, whatever? So my oncologist, so they immediately teamed me with, and I'm so grateful that they took me seriously because I hear so many stories about younger women being diagnosed and they brushing it off. Oh, you young, it's not cancer, but they were very responsive to me. So they immediately teamed me with the oncologist, a radiologist, and the breast surgeon. And I met with them, and it was exhausting because there were times that I had appointments, like maybe 3 appointments in one day or 3 appointments in 1 month. I mean, in 1 week. And then, of course, you have those fake check-ins. Well, I was just called with the doctor say, how you doing and all that. And I'm like, miss me with that bullshit. Like, if you want to come help, come over here. But I don't have time. It's only me. I'm still trying to process everything. You really don't give to, if you want to be here, just be here. So I became very angry. It caused a strain between me and my family members because I'm a little feisty anyway. But I have always felt kind of out of place growing up, but with this diagnosis, I really felt misunderstood. And then as far as the support, at the time that I was diagnosed, I was actually practicing celibacy. I think I was maybe like 2 years in practicing celibacy. And so I reconnected with an old friend at that time. When I came back from my trip, I called him up and told him what was going on. He immediately came over. We reconnected. Fast forward, became intimate again. And that was a mistake. And I didn't experience any physical abuse because he knew better than that. But I did experience the verbal abuse. And, towards the end, he was like, well, I didn't want to be mean, but I just felt like you was high off the drugs or something. So For the most part, it was just me by myself. The way that people have always responded to me as a result of my hyper independence, but my hyper independence stemmed from the lack of rejection and abandonment, and the lack of emotional support from my family. And so I didn't feel well supported throughout my journey, and it was just me. I feel like people always responded to me when only it was a dire need, but then they go back to their lives, and to a certain extent I get it, because if you're working all day, you're tired, and you're having to take care of your own, but still, what I've learned is the people that are going to be there are going to be there.
Amen.
And focus on those people. Don't focus on the ones that, because everybody has strengths and weaknesses and the capacity to deal with certain things. And let's just face it, everybody ain't built for this.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that was part of my journey.
It sounded like you was just reading my life, honey. I was over there.
You want to tell me how you dealt with your journey, Tisha?
So my journey, I was really angry for the better part of the beginning of my journey. Like, I was just like, oh, I'm young. Why me? Like, why is this happening? Like, I done dealt with a whole lot of stuff. Why is this happening? And it just, like Tifanie said, like, I didn't get that support from my family the way that I should have, the way that they should have, because I did my part. They, I called, I tell them, hey, this was going on. Like, when I talked to my dad, my sister told me that he called my mom to ask her if I was telling the truth. I was like, what? Why would you lie about something like that? So, I had some colorful words for him. And then it was just people in general. Like she said, if you're gonna be there, be there. I'm like kind of no nonsense. I'm not gonna shoot the shit with you. I'm not gonna play around. I'm gonna say what I gotta say, and I'm gonna keep it pushing. It was really the support of like my coworkers and the ladies online, especially Zainab, that really, helped me and everything. Because I know I asked you a whole lot of questions, and you really helped me a lot through my journey. I tried to be as positive as I could, regardless of my situation, and I think that helped as well. Just trying to have a positive mind frame in the craziness and the chaos of it all. Like, just everywhere, every doctor's appointment, it was a strain to go, because it's like I don't feel like it. I don't have the energy, the mental capacity, and it's just like when you start your journey, it's like everything is a whirlwind. So it's just constantly things being thrown at you left and right. You got to go here. You got to meet this person. This going to be a doctor. You got an appointment there. And it was just like, I need time to process, to slow down, and then I had a lot going on. Like, I worked full time. I'm Army Reserve. I had to go to a whole nother state. My doctors, thankfully, they was willing to work with me. And I didn't feel brushed off or anything like that. It was kind of like immediate action. Once I met my provider, everything just took off from there. I did bump heads with a few providers, and I got some new doctors, because I'm like, I'm going through this. I don't have time for your shit. I'll say, like, my mom, she was very supportive. My sister, she was very supportive. But generally it was like phone calls, and I got to the point where I didn't want to share in the beginning, and then when I started sharing a little, I didn't want to share anymore, because I got tired of the, oh my God, I'm so sorry, and you stay strong, you got this. And I'm like, this is truly one of them things where you don't know until you know. Like, unless you done experienced it, I can't. I don't want to hear, you got this. I'm like, I really don't have a choice. You kind of in there fighting for your life, and people take that for granted, I think. They take it for granted a lot.
Okay. And young lady, Zakiarh, you gonna get me upset. Anyway, I call you, listen, Zakiarh, right?
Zakiarh, yeah.
Okay, I got it right. Yay, me.
Yeah, you can just say Z if you want to.
Okay. How did you, you know, ingest that information?
Um, Honestly, I was so numb because I was at the hospital alone when I first heard that I got diagnosed. And just similar to some of the young ladies that spoke, I also was in an abusive relationship. I actually, on my way to the hospital, when I found out I was diagnosed, I was in a fight with my boyfriend. Like we were like arguing on my way to the hospital. I'm on the phone, and I'm so concentrated on that argument that when they told me that I had it, it was just like I feel like I was in a dream. Like it really did not feel real to me in that moment. And I think because like I was just in such a vulnerable state already. Like I just feel like my confidence and my self-esteem was just gone. I was physically being abused as well as mentally and emotionally at that time. So, the week that I found out, like my birthday was the following week. And so the following week, I'm just in my head trying to figure out like where do I even begin? Like what do I do? Like I'm in Florida by myself with this person that I don't like anymore, and my whole family's in Maryland. Like, do I go back home? Like, do I stay? Like, what do I do? So I just remember a month later, I was in a lot of pain, and I remember him waking up in the middle of the night with me, and he was like, "You know what? You're interrupting." He said, "You're interfering with my career and my sleep, and I don't want to do with this anymore." And so like from there, I was just kind of like, okay, my get up muscle immediately kicked in because it was just like at that point, I'm like, okay, I know I have this and I have to do this alone. So I need to tighten up and figure out where do I begin with fighting this. And so I just started telling like people that were close in my life. I'm in a sorority, I'm a Delta, so I told my line
Oh,
sisters.
Delta, I can't get away from them. Oh.
I told my line sisters, I told my mom, I told like my family, and they just gave me the guidance and support that I needed at that time. I was really blessed to have that with them. Just like the love that they poured into me, it outweighed everything that I've gone through. And so I just kind of went with that. And I, in the beginning, didn't really ask a lot of questions. I was also misdiagnosed. I was told I had stage 1 at one hospital. And I met a friend on the breast cancer group, and she was just like, that doesn't sound right. She was like, maybe you should get a second opinion. And that's when in my second opinion, I found out that I had stage 4. And so from there, I just, I listened to a lot of what the doctor said. I kind of at that moment was still just, still going through the stage of like not really having confidence still. So I was just listening to what my doctors told me. I didn't really question anything. I was also being like mistreated at the hospital. Like this woman was texting during my appointment, putting her finger up like this when I asked questions. She was young too, and an Indian, and I thought that because she was young and maybe like some form of a minority that I would have gotten a great, just response with her, and I did not. It wasn't until a few months ago, my roommate and I, we went to the hospital, and I was like showing her people that I knew in Maryland that were in remission. And I asked her about it, and she just kind of was just like sighing and rolling her eyes, like just getting frustrated with me for wanting to know more about what was going on with me. So I cussed her out, and I like felt so bad about it. But then I kind of was like, now I have this depiction of like being the angry Black girl at the hospital because I want to advocate for my needs when I've been like just quiet and just kind of just going through the motions this whole time. So it really frustrated me. And I think that's when I kind of locked in, was like, I have to kind of take the wheels on this myself, because I just feel like I don't want to deal with this anymore. Like I don't want to deal with the fact that I have to listen to people that really don't value my life the way that I do. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. But
Okay, Mama.
I think that was the biggest thing, like just being young and just really feeling like just feeling like I was just like just kind of a number, like just being like an almost like an animal, because everyone in this hospital is like old and white, and I'm like the young Black girl in Florida alone. um it really got to me for a while. So I think that's why I started moving more into a holistic direction, because I started meeting people that actually cared about me and like wanted to see me win and really wanted me to be here. And you know, and meeting Zainab as well, like online, and like listening to her story and her listening to mine, and really just being an advocate for me, and you know, listening to what I had to say without any judgment, like was just so important for me, because I'm really private with things that are serious in my life as well. So I really do appreciate the fact that we do have this group to be able to talk and, you know, to kind of share what's going on. But yeah, but that was my story and what happened to me. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Everybody got a story. Everybody got a background. I went and got three different opinions. Okay.
You too. I had
And the
3.
reason being is because the first one, the first one, what did she tell me? She wasn't sure what my diagnosis was. And I'm like, aren't you the breast surgeon? What are you doing? Yeah. I'm looking at her, I'm telling my cousin, she's dirty looking. She's dirty, she's old. And when she went to collect the money for my co-payment, I was like, yo, I ain't coming back to her no more. She gave me her phone number and everything. She set up the appointment. And then she goes, I think you're HR negative. No, you're HR positive, HR negative, and your HER negative. And I was like, I don't think she knows what she's talking about. So I'm looking at my cousin. I was like, we ain't doing that. She made the appointment for the surgery and everything. So she sent me to another doctor, the oncologist, and this blew my mind. He walked in the room and he was like, all you need is chemo. That was it. Never said hi, nothing. Just walked right out. So I told him, I said, guess what? You will never see me again, because I have an appointment with another hospital. So he asked me what the doctor's name was. He was like, I know him. I said, good, because now you won't see me again. And I'm glad I went to where I went. I mean, where everybody didn't have a good experience. I went to Memorial Sloan Kettering and I had an awesome experience. I mean, for me, I was in disbelief, really. Real disbelief. I couldn't figure it out. I kept reading the pathology report wrong, thinking that I didn't have cancer when all along I did have it. I read the whole thing wrong. I remember walking into the oncologist's office. I was all smiles. I said, yeah, I know. I'm stage 2A. And she was like, no, you're not. You're 2B. And I'm like, why? She was like, because you had lymph nodes under your arm. I was like, I did. The only thing about it, and thank God, they never opened up. It was like in a capsule. So they never opened up. So that's what they took out. But my experience, I will say, except for with one nurse, was good. I mean, I had to walk around and I had to just smile. I couldn't go in there with a bad face. I didn't have anybody to come with me except for to get the port in. My girlfriend that came with me for the first chemo, she couldn't drive me back home because she couldn't drive in the dark, so that wasn't no good. So here I am. I had chemo for 8 hours, and I'm driving us back and stopping every 5 minutes at a store because I got to go to the bathroom because of all of the fluids I had. She was a trooper though. She stayed to make sure. She made sure I was okay. But I was like, what kind of nurse are you? Can't hang out. But otherwise, other than the nurse that did my port and she jabbed me in the port, that was it. I always asked for a window seat and they wanted to know why. And I let them know if I have to sit here and I have to be here for 4 hours getting treatment, there's no damn way you're going to have me looking at four walls, buddy. I got to see my life outside. And that's how I did it. My son, he was the worst. I mean, he wasn't the worst. Let's say he was just a caring son. And he was like, let's go to Cuba and get treated because they have treatment there. And then we got the pandemic. So I'm like, now what would have happened if I would have went to Cuba to get treatment and the pandemic was on? I would have never got treatment, and then he's like, chemotherapy is really made from mustard gas. It's a derivative of it. I was like, oh, so I'm looking this up and the kid was right. I was like, I shouldn't call him a kid. He's a grown man. But he was actually right. I was like, damn. Yeah, he was right. But like I told somebody, I had my pity party, but nobody knew. Nobody came to the party with me. I went upstairs in my house and I cried because I couldn't understand that. I'm an only child. My mother is gone. There's no other family. There's my son who was very negative about this whole thing. And I don't know if it had to deal with the fact that he watched my mother die from cancer. So he was very, very negative. Then I had other relatives. Oh, this person died, that person died. And I was like, do me a favor, don't call my number no more. Do not call me and tell me any horror stories. Let me deal with this on my own. So for me, I went through it by myself. I took myself to chemo. I took myself to radiation. 20 radiations and chemo, Herceptin. I did it all. I did not want anybody negative around me. So I always tell people, remove negative people. I don't care if they're family or not. They got to go. We don't do negativity. We're already going through enough mentally. Because this shit, excuse my French, is a mental thing that it just, and then to meet all of you and you're young, it was mind-boggling because I asked my oncologist, why are these young girls getting breast cancer? Why? And she said they're trying to figure it out too because they don't understand. So many young people. I sat there with a young lady who had a mastectomy and she was going for radiation and she had to go pick up her child. And she was like, she don't have nobody to help her. I was like, wow.
It's the food. It's everything.
My
Like
son said
that's
it's the
literally
environment.
Everything, the food,
Environment and lifestyle.
water.
Yeah, it's the
You can't get
environment.
away from it.
Yeah.
deodorant, laundry detergent, like
The
it's lit
sheet.
toilet paper.
Cleaning products, you
Yeah.
name it.
But then this
Everything.
tech gave me this site. It's called Think Dirty. And it's a site and it'll tell you if stuff has chemicals in it. It's called Think Dirty. If you download the app,
Everything got everything in it.
Think Dirty will tell you what is paraben free because I'm allergic to parabens. And that's how it all started. Because I did an allergy test and they said I'm allergic to parabens. I'm like, really? It's in everything. So she told me to download it and I found a lot of stuff on Think Dirty that is paraben free and it tells you if it has chemicals. So it's a good thing to download. So if anything, download Think Dirty. So
That's a right now.
Well, the part about this is, and let's have a moment of honesty and accountability with ourselves, right? Here we all know the dangers. We all are talking about our bad experiences with the doctors and how we feel like a number and we don't feel heard, right? And we know that the chemo is not good for us and it's poison, but yet we still allow it.
yeah, we
And
took
yes,
it.
we can download the app of Think Dirty, but when you find out that your favorite food that you like to eat all the time, every day is on Think Dirty, do you stop?
You know what, Angie? I ain't look up the food yet now.
I know you did.
And see, Angie,
Do you make the necessary changes
But you know what's
to
crazy?
assure yourself that you are in a permanent remission?
Right. And that's what I
And
want to be
that's where
in.
the work comes in that it's all good
So
talking
you're
about.
going to teach us all that.
I can't teach you.
No, I have to do it myself. Yeah.
You got to do it for you. I'm going to share. I'm going to bring awareness. I'm going to point the finger and hold you accountable. I'm not going to pacify you and I'm not going to beg. Oh, son, get the kid. No, you want to do something better, do something different.
That's true. That's true.
Other than
Angie,
that,
I like you.
I was about to say
Angie.
same.
Other than that,
Because she
what we
reminds
talking
me of
about,
me.
sis? Other than that, what
That's
we talking about?
Tiffany.
When you found out them chips, you can't eat no more. Do you do it?
Yeah, and I've been
It comes
bad
a
too.
real lifestyle. I'm talking about from changing my linen now. I don't even sleep on but 100% cotton because that polyester fiber is really just plastic.
Yes, yes, yes. Because I
Okay,
noticed with jeans now, they're making it with this
plastic fiber.
plastic.
I
Yeah,
barely wear jeans. People
yeah.
like, why you put this on? I don't wear no underwear. I don't wear no bras. I don't. And when I'm raw, I don't have odor. But like, how you do that? Don't have odor. Nothing. Do you make the necessary changes? And I've already was in a lifestyle change, so I already, those things are not as hard for me. But with what you know, everybody on here, I just listen to everybody's story. What are you doing to assure it? Not taking the medicine for 5 years, that's not the
Okay,
real,
mama. It's
that's to
okay.
keep you as a permanent patient. Do you make the necessary changes to fully, truly extend your life? And in order to extend your life, you got to change your lifestyle. When you go on that website, everybody should download it. And then you figure out my favorite thing. Oh, I can't do that no more. And that's when you actually say you want to live, when you make the decision to say, hey, I'm giving up meat for 30 days. I'm going raw for 60 days. I'm giving up this. I'm doing that. And actually do it.
But
Just
you
as
know
soon
the
as we put
funny
the
thing,
work in and put our clothes on and get over there and go to chemo and do all of that,
yeah.
make those same changes to pull away from the table.
But before I even had breast cancer, believe it or not, I was doing the alkaline thing.
And
And
all of
that's
them. And
why,
they play
huh?
on our fear. They play on our fear.
Because
We all
that
probably was doing something different until they told us we was finna die or until we saw what cancer was in our family death. And
right.
then comes the fear and they play on it.
But
Because
that's
our
what I
family has,
said. My experience was so different at that hospital. When I was telling them what I was doing, they were like, good. Keep doing what you're doing. Because I was drinking alkaline water. They know I would eat my I was always eating avocado sandwiches every day. Every day. And they were like, that's good. Keep
my
doing what
doctor
you're doing.
The
Hmm?
doctors told me when they already know my diet and stuff, because I was already, before this time I got sent with the worst spread, I already was like on a holistic lifestyle or the certain kind of diet. They actually told me to start back eating meat. They said the reason why your cancer came back, you sick. So you just need to start back eating meat. You don't have enough, whatever, whatever. I have this on a
Oh, because
record.
they're telling you don't have protein, but you can get
No,
protein from other things.
they weren't just saying
Hmm.
protein, I'm basically malnutrition and my body is not the
You
way
don't
to.
look malnutrition to me.
I don't believe none of that. I do not listen to the doctors like that. But something about being sent home on hospice, we'll put a little fear in your ass and a little fire on it too. Okay.
Yeah, I
Um,
can imagine.
okay, so but no. So they already know. They said you need to introduce this, you need to introduce this back in your diet. And they already know the cancer's gonna come back because they didn't took our lymph nodes or they didn't cut into them. They didn't already damage them.
Right.
They opened them up. They didn't expose them. They know that's why it's always reoccurring. I've yet to meet a woman who got diagnosed with cancer once and never had another reoccurrence.
Right.
Told me
So,
where it happened and I turn over everything on.
so Angie, did you start back eating meat or no?
I am disgusted with meat. So once I had kind of gave it up, I didn't find a desire. But the crazy thing is I started playing with it. I hated the taste of it. So, but I started playing with it. And I still don't like the taste of it, but it was like I was super sick and I was like almost in the wheel of hospice will make you do anything, sadly. And I was like, okay, if I'm doing anything, then really am I holding on to my faith in God, not
You can
necessarily
come out,
a whole nother
Missy.
thing. But so I started back playing with it, still hated it, didn't like it. But I started to notice my body began to be sicker. I started to get body odor again. I started to change. And so I said, that's the weakness in me that they're playing on. Fuck that shit. Okay, they say I'm getting sent on hospice. What is that? Do I really want to be home on hospice? Or do I really want to trust in God and step out on faith?
You're going to
Mustard
trust in
seed
God
kind
and
of
step
faith.
out on faith.
Mustard kind of face.
And that's what I had to do.
I
Trust
did what y'all told me to do, and I'm still at death's bed.
Ladies, I'm actually about to
Okay,
get off. I'm
but
so
we're gonna
sorry.
end it, and we have to get back together again. We must
We do. I
again.
got to get back to myself too. So it was a
So
pleasure.
it was a pleasure to speak with
Likewise.
everybody. I hope you went into chat and got everybody's numbers like I did, so we can keep in touch.
We should make a group chat. Zainab, do you want to be responsible for
Or
creating
we'll
a group
let
chat?
Angie be that. No, Angie will do that.
Or Angie. Okay.
Angie's gonna hold everybody accountable.
Angie, go in the chat, get the phone numbers, and put it all of us in a group. Do we all have iPhones?
No,
Yeah, I
but
got everybody.
No.
no, but you can do
I'm missing.
Guys.
she
I'm
can do
missing one
WhatsApp.
person's
WhatsApp.
number.
What's that will work?
Oh, I got your number.
Yeah, what's that?
Yeah, you
WhatsApp.
have mine.
You got
Yeah,
Everybody
WhatsApp.
got my
Everybody
number.
has WhatsApp, right, Tiffany?
Mine don't be working.
Yeah, I
I
have
got
it.
too much stuff on my phone, but I'll try. And I
What
don't know how
kind
the
of phone
group
you
text
have,
works on.
Angie?
I have an iPhone, but I have so much stuff on my phone because I have this show and I be just doing all kinds of stuff, and because I be recording stuff. So memory, I've bought extra memory. And so because I be having such an overload, I have to delete stuff sometimes just to send an email. It's bad. And I'm
Oh, okay.
not bad. Another new phone. So I will try to do it on WhatsApp. But if I don't,
But you know what? Don't you have there's this thing called Teams. I don't know if everybody could do Teams.
is it an app?
It's something that was on the phone. You
can't
have
download no
Microsoft?
Yeah, but if
Why
it's some,
can't we just do Zoom?
yeah, we'll try it in a text message. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah,
So
do
we
it in a text
WhatsApp,
message.
or if
and
not,
then-
it'll be a text message. Either way, we'll get it together.
Okay, I thank you, ladies, for giving me your time. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Good
Yes,
night,
thank
everybody.
you,
A very
ladies.
awesome conversation.
It
Have
was.
a good evening, and we will do this again.
Yes, thank
Alrighty.
you.
Okay,
Bye, ladies.
bye. You
Bye.
beautiful people. Go ahead, Angie.
All right.
Okay.